Well, I want to take you back on the 22nd May last year. Former FDC President, retired Major General Mugisha Muntu, along with his allies, launched the Alliance for National Transformation, abbreviated as ANT, after breaking away from the Forum for Democratic Change party. Muntu cited irregularities in the election process and differences in ideology with the FDC party. He also said the new party he would be building would aspire to a different style of doing politics in this country. Have they achieved that in just 1 year? Well, today he's joining us in our studios to give us a feel of what it has been for him in the last 1 year. Welcome to NTV at 1.
Thank you.
In your statement to commemorate 1 year in power, you say you have given Ugandans hope for a better future. What exactly do you mean by that?
Yeah, before I go into that, let me first correct the statement you gave. Amongst the reasons why we branched out and started the Alliance for National Transformation, we never challenged the electoral process. We had no problem with the electoral process itself within FDC. It was because of our failure to manage the internal contradictions according to strategy. Nevertheless, that's now part of history. As Alliance for National Transformation, we are building a foundation on the basis of which we can have a value-based party to see how we can influence the future of our country, because that's where the conflict is. Values. You hear many people grappling all over, trying to find out what the problems of the country are. They are varied, but whatever problems are, they are all rooted in the issue of who are we as a people? What do we want to do? And you look back and you see that as long as you do not recognize that if there are leaders who are dishonest, if there are leaders who don't care about justice, if there are leaders who don't care about fairness, if there are leaders who don't care about transparency in the manner in which national resources are managed, it doesn't matter what organization will be in power. It doesn't matter which government will be in power. There's no way any such group can turn around this country and lift it to the highest, the optimum that it can reach. Well, therefore, that's why we are saying we want to give hope to the population, because we believe that that's where the solution lies. And that's why for the last 1 year, because yesterday we became 1 year, and spent 1 year trying to attract honest Ugandans who believe in integrity, who believe in the values I've just talked about. Because, you know, once you have a concentration of those in an organization, once that organization takes power, turning around the country and moving it in a positive direction becomes automatic.
All right. Now, one of the things you have always advocated for the opposition political parties is for them to have proper structures. If you're to do a brief audit on ANT, your new party, do you think you've been able to put in place proper structures?
We had made significant progress, and we were meeting a number of our targets. Unfortunately, we've been paralyzed in the last 2.5 months because of the COVID experience that we've been going through of a lockdown. Because we are fully established at sub-region levels, we are fully established at district levels. We've got significant advances in a number of sub-regions which have gone down to the parish, but also a significant number of districts where we have not gone lower than the level of the constituencies. So we are moving in a phase where we were still mobilizing financial resources to put it at the disposal of the sub-regional and district leaderships to go down. We believe that if the resources were sent down, within a period of 3 months, we would be able to establish ourselves fully in the 9,000 parishes of this country and the 3,000 sub-counties of this country. That's our main target. We know that we will not be able to establish ourselves fully at the villages because those are quite many, 60,000, but we're a work in progress. We know that the moment we are at parishes and sub-counties, then we'll have achieved our targets.
Just paint for us a picture briefly of how your party looks like. Just what is in stock for the ANT party?
We are satisfied, 1, with the manner in which we are operating. 2, the cohesion that is within the party, because it is a critical factor. We don't have any internal strife. We don't have contradictions in terms of strategy or methods or in terms of our subscription to the values that we stand for. So that's a very, very important aspect in any organization, because we've got a healthy internal environment. That's very, very critical. And therefore, that enables us to give ourselves targets and exert our efforts and focus all our plans to achievement of those objectives that we set ourselves. We're on the right track.
All right. And we know so many people have been affected by COVID-19, and we know that you were preparing to have a Delegates Conference. Yeah. What happened exactly? Was it just affected by COVID-19? Are there plans of having it in the future?
The lockdown has destabilized our plans, as I believe it has destabilized quite a number of other opposition parties, or parties that intended to have delegates conferences. And our focus now is the moment the lockdown is lifted, then we will have to plan on how to readjust when we can put those delegates conferences. And of course, there are a number of activities that we intended to go into before the delegates conference itself. There are some issues, of course, that we have not yet fully discussed right now, but we are going to discuss on how we can engage with the Electoral Commission and other actors. At a personal level, I have a deep feeling that it would be fair, that it would be logical, that we look at compensating for the time lost because of the COVID lockdown, because so far we've lost about 2.5 months. If we lose 3 or 4, it would only be fair and logical that we compensate the lost time so that the parties can engage in the activities of which they have lost time for. I wouldn't want to believe that there's any party that would want to contradict that. My hope is that even those who are in government would see the need for that, unless they act in a manner consistent with their character and their practices where they don't want to be fair. Otherwise, I wouldn't see any reason why we wouldn't work towards compensating the time which has been lost.
You talk of compensating time.
Yes.
And I would like to hear your thoughts on the issue of having elections during this pandemic. We've seen countries like Burundi going ahead with the election process. Would you be okay with us going ahead? I mean, 2021 is just months away. Would you be okay with us going ahead with the elections come 2021?
If we hadn't had interruptions, we wouldn't have had any problem with the Electoral Commission roadmap. But because of the interruptions, because of the COVID lockdown, I believe we need to relook at the roadmap itself. My own view, we have not discussed it in the party yet, but I would believe that compensating for the time lost under the lockdown, whether it is 2 months, whether it is 3 months, whether it is 4 months, that same period needs to be compensated for. So we can go back to where we stopped and continue preparing ourselves. Because COVID will end, the disease itself. But we need to recognize that even before the lockdown, there are many challenges, political, economic, that we are preparing to see how we can contest for the public mind to make a choice as to the organization that they believe would be able to resolve the challenges that we have as a country. We are looking at the lockdown because of a virus, but most people forget that we lose so many more people because of the, maybe I should call it political COVID, that we've had in this country for the last 58 years. So when the lockdown is lifted, when we have dealt with the disease, the virus, we must not forget that there is a larger disease out there. It's political in nature, whatever name you may want to call it. You can even term it political COVID. So you need to have people who are well prepared to see that the moment we get out of the lockdown because of the virus COVID, the COVID in form of a virus, that we need to deal with the other. So people should not, be complacent. We have a serious problem out there. We've only managed to rally ourselves around government. We didn't want to cause any disruptions in terms of their focus on how to handle the virus, because we recognize that no life should be lost. But the moment that ends, the challenges are there, and we need to deal with them.
All right, thank you so much for joining us in our studios today, and hopefully everybody that is watching us today can pick that and take it with them as we move ahead and as we continue to try to keep ourselves safe from the COVID-19. There is a bigger problem, like General Mugisha Muntu says. Thank you all for joining us on NTV at 1. Keep it NTV.